UFC 249 has been canceled. That is a big shot at Dana White. Now, I'll tell you this. Dana White has been the joke of the UFC. And I don't want to hear it from you, Speedy. Oh, you hate Dana White, you hate Conor McGregor, and that's why you're going to speak out and say what you feel about Dana White. Dana White has been an absolute jackass. And this is a man who built MMA, built the UFC for what it is. He absolutely did. He's ruined the next Ultimate Fighter. Ruined that show. Then he goes out with Matt Serra. I said this on Caged at MMA last week. He goes out with Matt Serra trying to discover the next big superstar in the UFC. That didn't work. This has been a huge, huge problem. And I'm telling you right now, the UFC is not going, they're not moving up. They're moving down. I've said this over and over again. You look at boxing. Boxing has found their next superstar, their next 2 or 3 superstars. You have guys like Ryan Garcia, who's knocking out people in the first round. You can't even see his punches because he's so friggin' fast. And then you think of Canelo Alvarez is on top of the game. He's the biggest prestige boxer in all of professional boxing. And then you have the heavyweight division with Joshua and Wilder and Fury. I mean, the heavyweight division hasn't been this good in a very, very long time. What has the UFC done? Now, they had this fight, and I thought it was only 4 times that this fight never happened in Ferguson and Khabib. It's been 5 times. This is the 5th time that it's been canceled. To me, Dana White has ruined UFC 249. He tried to bunch this together. Then he said he was going to put it on an island or put it somewhere in California so there's no coronavirus. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke what the UFC is doing to their product right now. They're watering down their product and ruining their product. And I'm done talking about Dana White. Because Dana White, really, since Conor McGregor has come back, he's not only kissed Conor's ass, he has a lot to say about other fighters like Demetrius Johnson, who was one of their best fighters. They called him Mighty Mouse. He decided to sign with another organization for a year. They bring in another guy that nobody gives a crap about. And the UFC is a complete joke right now. And the UFC thought they were going to save what's going on. There's no sports on TV. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to not cancel UFC 249. They're going to have Gochi drop out of the Conor McGregor fight to fight Ferguson. And then all of a sudden, 2 days before the card, Dana White cancels the fights. If you're a UFC fan or you're a mixed martial arts fan, you cannot be happy about this. Not at all. Because me and Anthony Anderosi were going to talk about our picks. He was sending me things. I was posting things. I was getting ready for tomorrow and making our picks. There's nothing to pick about. There's nothing we can pick on. Now, here's what we're going to pick. How much crap I can pick out of my nose. Because right now, there is no sports going on. Dana White thinks he's going to save the MMA and mixed martial arts right now for where it is, and he's not. There is nothing right now that will save mixed martial arts. Nothing. I don't want to hear about all the MMA fans out there, and I'm the first person. I am an MMA fan. I'm also a boxing fan. If you're an MMA fan, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot be happy knowing that you are getting ready for this particular card. And even though the card sucked, everybody wanted to see mixed martial arts. Everybody wanted to see live sports. Dana White was going to produce it, even though he's going to produce a crappy card. This has been a problem for the UFC for a very long time. Go look at the last 3 cards the UFC has had. Besides 1 or 2 fights on the cards have sucked. Now, I don't care what anybody has to say. And what is this right over here? Charlie Rose says, Jake Hager did nothing in the WWE as Jake Swagger, but never lost in the UFC. How? Charlie, that's a good question. And I don't really care about, as far as I'm concerned, I don't watch the WWE, so I would know nothing about Jake Hager or Jake Swagger. Jack Swagger, I guess his name is Jack Swagger. I don't know anything about the WWE, so I can't answer your question. But I could tell you this. You cannot sell fans that you were going to keep this card going, and then 2 days before the card, you cancel it. You cannot do that. Not only does it hurt the card, it hurts the UFC, and it hurts the UFC for when they come back. And I don't want to hear about Khabib, and Khabib had to go home. Dana White's making excuses for Khabib. Here's the reason why Khabib went home. Khabib is a scared-ass punk. He's been a scared-ass punk of Ferguson for years. And he's been ducking and weaving Tony Ferguson, for years. And you know what he does? He goes running home to mommy and daddy. That's what he does. And he can hear this, and if he doesn't hear it, I could care less. To me, it's a complete joke. Dana White's a jackass. Khabib is a chicken. And the UFC should be ashamed of themselves. Absolute shamed of themselves. The UFC had a chance to stabilize themselves, having Khabib and Ferguson really be the match that everybody couldn't wait to see. He completely bombed on this, letting Khabib, yes, he let Khabib go home to Russia to his family. I don't want to hear about the Russian, what's his name again, the dictator over there.
Putin.
Putin wanted him to come home or whatever the heck he was saying. I don't want to hear it because to me, the UFC is a complete, utter joke. And Dana White, Matt Serra, you can go on your way to YouTube and do your stupid show and go find the next big superstar because I got news for you. You haven't found nothing. There is no upcoming big-time superstar coming to the UFC anytime soon. Trust me. And your fighters, your top talent, you got Ferguson, Khabib. You have one guy that's scared out of his ass, and he runs away. He talks about Conor McGregor. And I'll tell you this. As much as Khabib talks about Conor McGregor the way he does, Conor has never walked away from a fight. He has never ducked a fight, ever. Khabib has ducked plenty of fights. Plenty. And the only reason why he took the Conor McGregor fight because he knew it was a complete, utter, dominant. He knew he was going to dominate him and take him down and dominate him on the ground. That was the only reason why he took the Conor McGregor fight. What are you laughing and giggling at?
Wow, you actually praised Conor McGregor. This might be a first.
I'm not praising him to nothing. I know Conor McGregor is not a chicken shit. And I shouldn't be saying that on our live radio show. But that's what Conor McGregor, over the years, I've never thought Conor was a chicken. But Khabib, you say what you want about how great Khabib is, and he's 23 or 22-0 or 24-0, whatever his record is. 27-0. I could care less what his record is. To me, he has beaten nobody except Conor McGregor. And the only reason why he beat Conor McGregor was, one, Conor McGregor was out of shape. Two, he is a better fighter than Conor. But three, Conor McGregor doesn't give a crap about mixed martial arts anymore. He has not given a crap about mixed martial arts for years. All he cares about is putting money in his pocket and supporting his family. I think the biggest hype player in the last 10 years is Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was drafted. This guy was the next coming Mickey Mantle. Everybody was saying that this guy was going to be the next big superstar. This guy, they were talking about him at the age of 14 being the next big superstar.
SI Kids cover. He was hitting home runs in a 500-foot home run
in Arizona,
in Tampa.
But he's from Arizona.
He's from, yeah.
And everybody was talking about this guy is the next big superstar in the MLB. And I'm not saying he's not a superstar in the MLB. He speaks very high of himself. He's not a humble guy. And this guy really thinks that he is still the best player in the league. But let's be honest. Go look at his career. Go look at his numbers.
Inconsistent
he is one of the most inconsistent players in the last, I would say he's been a rookie since he's been a rookie.
2012 was his rookie year.
So he's been in a league for almost 8 years. He's been in a league almost 8 years, and he's been one of the most inconsistent players. And by the way, the same draft he was drafted in, there was a guy named Mike Trout that was drafted. And Mike Trout, who was the 25th pick by the Anaheim Angels, has turned out to be the best baseball player we've seen since, some people say, since Mickey Mantle.
And I think if I remember correctly, Mike Trout in that season only came up in May or something like that, or late April, whereas Bryce Harper was there the whole season.
I agree. And I think that out of all the players that I can really pick in the last 10 years to be overhyped, Bryce Harper is one of the most overhyped players, and he got $300 million.
I think he still is to an extent. People think of him as he's right in that class when he really isn't. He's more of that. He's in best years maybe top 10, but he's more of that top 20 range.
And I'll tell you this right now, until really the last 3 years, Steven Strasburg was overrated too. Because Steven Strasburg was the number one pick by the Washington Nationals about 6 years ago. And Steven Strasburg, who everybody thought was going to be the big superstar. And yes, he had Tommy Johns and the whole thing with Tommy Johns in the beginning of his career. He really started to develop his skills 3 years ago. Because Steven Strasburg, if you look at his numbers, was a good pitcher, but not a great pitcher. This guy was supposed to be electric. This guy was the best pitcher in college baseball. Hands down. The best pitcher college baseball has seen in almost 10, 15 years. And everybody thought this is the next big. They were talking about Nolan Ryan status, Tom Seaver status. This guy really wasn't that. And really, in the last 3 years, he's been the best playoff pitcher in baseball and really has shown people that why the Washington Nationals didn't give up on him and why the Nationals decided to give him $200 million this offseason.
And he was a great playoff pitcher even when the Nationals as a team were awful in the playoffs every year. 2012, 2014, and then 16 and 17 after that. He was really the one bright spot they had.
It's just, to me, and I'll say this about the Yankees. And the Yankees have had overhyped players over the years as well. Every team has. The Red Sox, the Yankees, all the big teams. Baltimore Orioles.
The Red Sox just recently. How much hype did Rusney Castillo get?
Well, you know what's funny? I always thought that Manny Machado, when he was drafted, everybody was saying that this guy was the next big thing. I never really got the chance to really see him when he got drafted. I didn't know who he was. And I thought, I was like, who the hell is this guy? This guy, he's overhyped, blah, blah, blah. He really developed into a star player. He really did. And when scouts look at players and they talk about players, they say, "Oh, this guy's the next up and coming guy." How many times have we seen this in basketball? How many times, year in and year out in basketball, this guy's the next Michael Jordan, this guy's the next Kobe Bryant, this guy's the next LeBron James, and we never see it. This year, we actually saw Zion Williamson, who people compared his skills to LeBron James. Did he prove himself this year, the time that he's been on the
field?
Yes. Yes, he has. On the court, he has been. But we have to see that in multiple years. When you're talking about these guys like Bryce Harper won one MVP in 8 years. One. You think that you could brag about it? The non-humble person that Bryce Harper is, you're going to brag about one MVP when everybody was talking about you being the next Mickey Mantle at the age of 14? You're talking about Mike Trout, and Mike Trout is the best baseball player we have seen since Barry Bonds. Really, when Barry Bonds was a rookie. Yep. Okay, that's how good Mike Trout's way better than Derek Jeter. I would say he's right there with Alex Rodriguez. I would say Mike Trout is right there with Alex Rodriguez.
Fair.
You know, his game is just Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds. You're talking about some of the greatest baseball players ever to play. Mike Trout, if he were to retire right now, is one of the top 5 baseball players in my eyes of all time. Just look at his numbers. He is, numbers-wise, if you look at statistics, there is nobody in the league in any statistic that comes close to him in the most important statistics of them all.
I think they were looking at a lot of the analytics statistics, too, and he's already in the top 50 or something all time, and he's right on pace with, I think it was Reggie Jackson and Derek Jeter already in terms of a lot of those statistics, and he's played the 8 seasons, 8 seasons, yeah. Already played the 8 seasons, and he's still 27 years old with a ton of time left, and outside of the 2017 season where he got hurt, he had the broken hand or broken wrist when he stole a base, he's really been very durable too.
The problem with Mike Trout is he's not the guy that you want to be your face of baseball because he doesn't speak much, he doesn't say much, he's a quiet guy. And I think that when you think of the growth of what Mike Trout is now than when he was a rookie, it's been incredible. This guy has gotten better and better and better every single year.
Well, I think that was also because he didn't really have the hype like everyone else had. A lot of those big stars. A-Rod had the hype. Ken Griffey Jr., when he came up, had the hype. A lot of those guys had the hype. He didn't really have the hype. They're still trying to find the hype guy that's going to work. And again, baseball just hasn't done it. And Mike Trout's been the best player in baseball for a long time.
Not even close.
Not even close.
It's not even close. It's not. And I don't care what Aaron Judge fans are out there, Gleyber Torres fans out there, or anybody, any fan out there. You're talking about Bryant and all the players that we've seen, the young players that have come up over the years. None of them even come close to what Mike Trout is as a baseball player. Mike Trout is the best athlete in professional sports right now. He is. That's after, and I'm not saying LeBron James isn't at the top of his game, and I still think, even though you look at Kawhi Leonard and you look at the Greek Freak and Anthony Davis, I still think LeBron James is the best player in basketball. I still do. But LeBron James has taken a step back. Mike Trout is in the prime of his career. Right. Mike Trout is the best athlete in professional sports. Hands down. He is the best player in baseball. Baseball is one of the hardest sports to play, if not the hardest sport to play. So Trout is an unbelievable superstar player. And I'm watching one of the greatest baseball players ever play the game.